This is the 3D VIEW-MASTER Bible story, Moses and the 10 Commandments. VIEW-MASTER Reel 1. Picture 1. The Bible tells how the people of Israel had been living as slaves in Egypt for 430 years. God brought many plagues on Egypt to make Pharaoh, the Egyptian king, let the people of Israel leave. Finally, Pharaoh agreed to let them go, but he thought they were only going out into the desert to worship God and would return after 3 days. But God told Moses to lead the people out of Egypt to a land he had promised them, the land of Canaan. So they left with their flocks, herds, and all their possessions, a great host of more than 600,000. This story from the Old Testament starts where the preceding VIEW-MASTER packet entitled Moses and the Plagues of Egypt ends. Picture 2. The Israelites marched through the wilderness toward the Red Sea. Always ahead of them moved a shining white pillar of cloud. It was God's way of guiding them. He did not lead them by the most direct way, northward along the coast of the Mediterranean Sea, because that way they would have to cross the land of the warlike Philistines, and God felt they might become discouraged and return to Egypt. Instead, God led them toward the Red Sea. Picture 3. The first night of their journey, they saw the pillar of cloud change into a pillar of fire. It moved ahead of them, glowing with light. Each day and each night, the pillar was there, ahead of them. When it paused, they stopped. When it began to move again, they followed it. Thus they could travel either by night or by day. Picture 4. God said to Moses, "Tell the people to turn toward the Red Sea and to camp along the shore. Pharaoh will think they are trapped there, between the desert and the sea. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and he will pursue them." When Pharaoh heard that the Israelites had fled, he pursued them in his chariot, followed by 600 picked chariots and all the other chariots of Egypt, and his horsemen and his army. The Egyptians overtook the people of Israel as they camped beside the Red Sea. The Israelites saw the Egyptians in the distance, and they were terribly frightened. Picture 5. "Do not be afraid," Moses told the people. "Stand firm and see how the Lord will save you. Tell the people of Israel to go forward." God told Moses, "Lift up your rod and stretch it out over the water. The sea will open a path before you, and the people of Israel will walk through on dry ground, safely to the other side." Then the angel of God moved a pillar of cloud around behind them, so that it stood between the Israelites and the Egyptians. And Moses stretched his rod over the water, and God opened a path through the sea with walls of water on each side. And God sent a strong east wind, which dried the sea bottom. Picture 6. Slowly, the vast throng of Israelites, with all their children, flocks, herds, and possessions, began to cross the Red Sea between the walls of water. They began at night, while the pillar of fire shone behind them, and a long line of people and animals kept crossing until morning. Then the Egyptians, who had not seen them crossing until daybreak, drove their chariots onto the dry path amid the waters and followed them. Picture 7. God looked down on the Egyptians and began to trouble them. Their chariot wheels became clogged with mud and sand. Then God said to Moses, "Stretch out your rod again over the water." Moses did so, and the walls of water began to roll together upon the Egyptians and their horses and chariots. It covered them, and they all drowned. VIEW-MASTER Reel 2. Picture 1. Then Moses and the people of Israel sang a song of praise to God for their deliverance. I will sing to the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider he has thrown into the sea. The Lord is my strength and my song, and he has become my salvation. He is my God, and I will praise him, my father's God, and I will exalt him. Then Moses led the people away from the Red Sea through the wilderness to a place called Marah. Picture 2. The people were very thirsty because they had been traveling for 3 days across the dry desert. But to their disappointment, they found that the water at Marah was so bitter that they could not drink it. Must we die of thirst? They complained. Moses prayed to God to help them, and God showed him a tree. Moses cast the tree into the water, and the water became sweet. Gratefully, the thirsty people and the animals drank their fill. Picture 3. After a short stay there, they traveled on into the Sinai desert. Now the people had no food and were hungry. Oh, that we were back in Egypt, they moaned. There we had plenty to eat. Now you have brought us out into this desert to die of starvation. Then the Lord said to Moses, Behold, I will rain down food from heaven. In the evening you shall eat meat, and in the morning you shall eat bread. That evening so many quails flew in and landed that they covered all the camp, and the Israelites killed and ate them. The next morning dew covered the ground. When it disappeared, it left tiny white flakes. The people gathered and ate the flakes. They tasted like honey wafers. The Israelites called this food from heaven manna. From then on, God gave them manna, so they were never hungry. Picture 4. The people of Israel followed the pillar of cloud and fire to a place called Rephidim. But when they arrived, there was no water. Again, the people complained to Moses. Give us water, they said. Why did you bring us out of Egypt to kill us and our children and cattle with thirst? What shall I do? Moses cried to God. They are ready to kill me. Take the elders of Israel with you and lead the people to Mount Horeb, said God. Strike the rock there with your rod. Moses obeyed, and as he struck the rock, water gushed forth. There was plenty for all the people and animals to drink. Picture 5. Before leaving Egypt, Moses had sent his wife, Zipporah, and 2 sons to live with her father, Jethro, in Midian. Jethro heard what God was doing for the Israelites, so he brought Zipporah and the 2 sons and caught up with Moses in the wilderness at Mount Horeb. Moses greeted his father-in-law, wife and sons warmly. The next day, Moses sat as usual to hear the people's disputes with one another. They thronged him about him from morning to evening. You are doing too much, Jethro advised Moses. You will wear yourself out. Choose able, honest men to share your burden. Let them judge the people and refer to you only the biggest problems. So Moses took his father-in-law's advice. Picture 6. After breaking camp at Rephidim, the people came to the base of Mount Sinai and camped there. It was 3 months since they had left Egypt. Moses climbed the mountain to meet God, and he and the people heard the voice of God like thunder. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee an graven image. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Honor thy father and thy mother. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet. Picture 7. Moses went up the mountain and disappeared at the top. The people saw the mountain ringed with cloud, and the glory of the Lord on its top was like a raging fire. And Moses stayed on the top of the mountain 40 days and 40 nights. God gave Moses many other laws and wrote the 10 Commandments on 2 tablets of stone for him. VIEW-MASTER Reel 3. Picture 1. Moses was gone so long that the people said to Aaron, "Make us gods to lead us. As for Moses, we do not know what has become to him." Aaron asked them for their gold earrings and melted the gold and shaped it into the form of a calf. He built an altar before it and announced, "Tomorrow there will be a feast to the Lord." The next day the people made offerings to the calf and worshipped before it. They sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play. Picture 2. As Moses came down from Mount Sinai, he heard the noise of singing. When he came near to the camp and saw the golden calf and the dancing, he was so angry that he threw the stone tablets containing the 10 Commandments from his hands and broke them at the foot of the mountain. He took the golden calf, burned it with fire, ground it to powder, scattered the powder on the water, and made the people of Israel drink it. Then he called out, "Who is on the Lord's side? Come to me," and the men of the tribe of Levi came to his side. "Today," Moses told them, "you have ordained yourself to the service of the Lord." And ever afterward, the Levites were set aside as the priestly tribe of Israel. Picture 3. Returning to the mountain top, Moses talked with God there again. Moses prepared 2 stone tablets like the first ones, and God wrote the 10 Commandments again on the new tablets. Picture 4. God instructed Moses to tell the people to build a tabernacle or tent of worship. God chose a man named Bezalel, a skilled artist and workman, to supervise the project and gave detailed instructions for building the tabernacle. The people brought personal offerings of gold, jewelry, fine cloth, skins, silver, bronze, and acacia wood. When the tabernacle was completed, the glory of the Lord covered it like a cloud. For the rest of their wanderings, this cloud became their guide. Picture 5. The people also made beautiful garments for the priests, Aaron and his sons. They were made of blue, purple, and scarlet cloth. Then Moses called the people together before the tabernacle and consecrated Aaron and his sons as priests. He clothed Aaron in his priestly garments. Then Moses took the anointing oil and sprinkled the tabernacle and everything in it. He poured some of the oil on Aaron's head to consecrate him. Picture 6. More than a year later, when the people were camped in the wilderness of Paran, Moses sent 12 men to spy out the promised land of Canaan. They were to see what the land was like and whether the people who lived there were strong or weak. The spies came back 40 days later, carrying a cluster of grapes so large that it took 2 of them to carry it on a pole between them. They reported that the land was fertile, flowing with milk and honey. But only 2 spies, Caleb and Joshua, had faith that the Israelites, with God's help, were able to take the land. The other 10 said, "The people there are too large and strong for us to conquer." The people believed the report of the 10 and wept with fear. God was angry and said, "You shall wander in this wilderness 40 years, and no one over 20 years old shall enter the promised land except Caleb and Joshua." Picture 7. 40 years had now passed, and Moses was 120 years old. Joshua, his faithful helper, had been ordained to lead the people into the promised land in his place. Moses climbed to the top of Mount Nebo, and from there God showed him the land beyond the river Jordan. Then Moses died on the mountain, and there arose not a prophet since in Israel like unto Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. We want to add new videos every day, so please subscribe to our channel.
And if you had fun, thumbs up.